Ladies and gentlemen, WWE Hell in a Cell review results. I'm about to hop right into it. What a pay-per-view it was. Such interesting things went down. Such interesting things happened. I'm about to hop right on into it right now. Feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be notified of every video that I make. You can also find me on Twitter at OMGCoreyB and at 2 Sweet POD. So, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I had some live reactions up on YouTube, but audio problems everywhere. I'm fixing it now, and I'm going to have those live reactions up later on in the day or either on Tuesday. We'll see about that. But we're about to hop into the review right now. First up, we had Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. I thought that Randy Orton had to win this match to keep his momentum, but I gotta say that I wasn't really expecting a whole lot out of this match. This was one of the matches where I was like, okay, good story, but it's inside the cell. I don't know why it's inside the cell. I don't really have any interest in it. We'll see how it turns out. But this is crazy because I thought that this really uplifted the pay-per-view because it turned out to be much better than even I expected to be. In this match, it was very physical. It was like a no-holds-barred match inside of a Hell in a Cell. So, I mean, it was very physical. They didn't use the cage very much, but I gotta say that, looking at the match, man, Randy Orton's arm and his leg, my goodness, it was atrocious. The cuts, his leg and his back. It was atrocious, the cuts and whips that he had on his back. But the highlight of the match, unfortunately, and when I upload my reactions, you'll see my reaction. The screwdriver in the ear. Ugh. Oh, that was so bad. I'm not gonna even get into it. It was just horrible. As soon as he picked up that screwdriver, I was like, oh man, he's going to the ear. I know it. Man, that was horrible to watch. But at the end of the day, I knew Jeff Hardy was gonna do something crazy. The spot that he did do, it was crazy, but it wasn't dangerous. Like, I thought Jeff Hardy was really gonna jump off top of that cell and do a swanton on Randy Orton or onto the announce table. So I was very much happy that it was just a monkey flip into the table from the top of the cell. At the end of the day, I don't see that as a serious injury. It was just a write-off for Jeff Hardy. Randy Orton gets the win, and he very much needed that to keep this storyline going. I'm very interested to see where Randy Orton goes next. He has I don't know if I can say a ton of momentum, but he has some momentum after this storyline. They really wrote it well. He's back to being the sick Randy Orton, that Randy Orton that we knew and loved before. So I'm very interested to see where he goes next. So next up, we had very surprisingly, we had Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. At the end of the day, I was like, this match is coming up right now, and it very much shocked me, but I was with it because we kept the pay-per-view rolling. The pace in this pay-per-view, very well done. I got to give it to whoever placed the matches. The pace was very well done throughout this pay-per-view. But looking at this match, I very much enjoyed it. One of the things that I enjoyed the most was that Becky Lynch really worked over the arm. They told a story there, and it was done really well. I mean, if I'm going off of my memory correctly, Becky Lynch did a reverse DDT and she hooked the arm behind it, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen that before. And it was very well done. We got into the forearms back and forth. We got some forearms, and the crowd was just super invested into this match. I was worried as to how the crowd would be because they were following Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy, and I was like, man, Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton just had a match that surpassed expectations, and the crowd was really into that. I don't want the crowd to be dead, but the crowd was alive for this. And when Becky Lynch took control of those forearms, they were just into it. The yes forearms, they were into it. And I gotta say, this is a really great match, but the finish, Charlotte is going for the spear, and I'm like, okay, Charlotte's gonna hit the spear, I'm missing, whatever. And Becky Lynch gets the roll up out of nowhere for 3, and it's like, whoa, Becky Lynch won, and she won the title. And it was a very surprising finish, a shock finish. I have no problems with it whatsoever because that's gonna lead us into a rematch at Evolution. Charlotte already had the rematch clause, but it looks like a lucky finish kept Charlotte protected. So we're on our way to Evolution. As for the result, Becky Lynch got the title. doggone it, if that's the way it should have been all along. And Becky is your champion. She might as well rename herself the People's Champion, for goodness sake, because the people love her, we all love her, and she should be the champion. She's the top woman in all of WWE. She's one of the most overstars, if not the most overstarred in all of WWE. So I very much enjoyed that match. Becky Lynch and Charlotte has excellent chemistry, so that match was just phenomenal. I enjoyed every bit of it. And speaking of phenomenal, next up we had AJ Styles. No, excuse me. We didn't have AJ Styles up next. We had The Shield versus Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre up next. This is another match I seen and I was like, okay, it's early in the show, and I very much expected the momentum to keep up, because I halfway thought that this would be the match of the night, given that we have 4 excellent workers in that ring. So we had a very slow and deliberate start to start the match, and I didn't really think that those guys needed that start, but at the end of the day, I was like, okay, they're gonna pick it up. It's just too many good workers in that ring. But I really like Dean Ambrose's work in this match. He's deliberately working as a heel, and it's working very well, to say that he's really changed over his character since he's come back, and I enjoy it very much. But the match really picked up so well. We had a hot tag tease where Drew McIntyre pulled Dean Ambrose down from the ring apron. The crowd was really into that. And the match really picked up when we had those double suicide dives. Seth Rollins dives, he gets caught by Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, and then Dean Ambrose comes in with another suicide dive, knocks everybody over. And we had some crazy sequences. That zigzag that went for 2, I was like, okay, the match is over right here. And it wasn't over. I was like, whoa, this match is crazy. But at the end of the day, Drew McIntyre ends it with the Claymore. Very surprising result for me, because I thought that they were really going to go with this Shield holds all the titles thing, and surprisingly enough, they didn't. And I thought that it was the correct decision. They should have kept the titles on Dolph and Drew, and had Seth Rollins with the Intercontinental title by himself, so that we can get some Intercontinental title feuds going. So I mean, at the moment, it's just Dolph and Seth. I want to see something else, but we'll see how it all plays out going forward. Fantastic match, correct result. Now moving on, we have AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. This was a phenomenal match, no pun intended. And AJ Styles and Samoa Joe just has excellent chemistry. And I mean, just going all the way back to their TNA days, just whenever Samoa Joe and AJ Styles was in the ring, you knew it was going to be a 4-star match, or however many stars you want to put on that. You just knew it was going to be excellent chemistry. And this was no different. There was a point in the match where we had a sick collision, and like it was a clothesline, and AJ Styles just ran into the wall that was Samoa Joe, and it was like, oh man, that was ugly. And we go throughout the match, and AJ Styles is going for the calf killer, and as a guy that's been watching AJ Styles for however long that I've been watching him, at least 14 years now. He hasn't been using the calf killer for 14 years, but you can tell when he's setting up the calf killer, he's going for it. And Samoa Joe had a pretty great reversal. He held onto the ropes in the corner. I was like, okay, that was cool. I really liked that. But as we got to the end of the match, we got into the coquina clutch, and I'm just sitting here like, tap AJ, tap, give it up, AJ. And we got this weird finish to where AJ Styles rolls over and he gets the 3 count, and it was like, whoa, the match is over. It's kind of like Becky Lynch and Charlotte, where you did not expect to see the match end that way. It was like, whoa, AJ Styles got the victory and the match is over. Like, wow. But at the end of the day, we got the video angle to where it shows that AJ Styles tapped out, and we have the screwjob finish there. So we're going to move on to WWE Super Showdown. AJ Styles vs Samoa Joe. We're going to have a rematch there. I guess if you were going to have the match at Super Showdown, it never really occurred in my brain that, okay, they're going to go do this at Super Showdown again. I thought Hell in a Cell was it. I thought this was the last opportunity for Joe. That's why I picked Samoa Joe. But if you're going to have a reason to do it again at Super Showdown, then this wasn't a bad reason overall. I don't like the finish. You still could have had Samoa Joe win, and AJ Styles could have had this automatic rematch, and we could have did it at Super Showdown as well. But this wasn't superly bad. I just would have went with Samoa Joe winning the title. So moving on, we had Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan versus The Miz and Maurice, and I gotta say that this really felt like a cool down match. This is the first match of the night where it was like, we got a cool down match here. And I never really got into the match. I didn't find it very interesting. And the crowd never really got into the match as well. The only thing that was told interestingly was the story of Brie Bella getting her hands on Maurice. Now the crowd got into that, but overall, Brie Bella got her hands on Maurice, and so what? I mean, it was a decent enough story told, but I wasn't into it. Overall, the storyline, this Daniel Bryan and The Miz. If you go back all the way to the beginning when Daniel Bryan was drafted to SmackDown, or whenever he moved to SmackDown, the storyline was so hot, blazing hot. And we got that SummerSlam match, and it was like, I really thought that they should have tailed off from this story and then picked it up. I don't know if you want to do that at Royal Rumble. I don't know if you want to do that at WrestleMania. But they stuck with it, and now the storyline is taking a dive because of it. Daniel Bryan and The Miz is less interesting because they've gone back-to-back matches, and we may have another match at Super Showdown. We'll see. I really think at this point they need to take a pause from this storyline and build it back up and go back to it at Royal Rumble, at WrestleMania, wherever, because we really need a break. Because now we're going to have The Miz and Maurice come out and gloat. And are we going to have another match with Daniel Bryan and The Miz at Super Showdown again? Or the next month after that? I'm not looking forward to another Daniel Bryan Miz match anytime soon. I hope they don't do it anytime soon. We'll see how the story plays out. This match, I didn't really find it all that interesting. At the given time, it was the worst match of the night. It wasn't a horribly bad match, as Daniel Bryan and The Miz did all of the lifting. But given the matches that came before it, it turned into the worst match of the night. So after that, we had Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. And I gotta say that I was worried about the quality going into this match. And I didn't think the quality would be great, and the quality was not great. I found this to be a bad match. I found it to be just like the SummerSlam match. It just wasn't interesting. And there was just a few changes to this match. Somebody has to tell Ronda Rousey to stop talking in the match. Like, when she's talking in the match, it comes off as very awkward, and like, it's just not great. I would say the only redeeming quality to this match was that they told a story about Ronda Rousey's ribs. And like, Alexa Bliss went at the ribs. She did the abdominal stretch, did a drop kick to the ribs, and they told a story with the ribs in the match. And that was later torpedoed in the match. I'll get to that. Also, I didn't like the interference in the match. It's like, man, the quality already isn't great. We got to throw some interference on top of it with people at ringside. I didn't like that as well. But why the story was torpedoed was that Ronda Rousey, for some unknown reason, hit her ribs as she was making her comeback. I know she was going for this as like a bull in the china shop, like she always does. But like, you can do anything. You can go here, you can go there, you can go there. You can do the Macarena if you want. Just don't go here or there, because you're torpedoing the story. You told the story to where your ribs are really bad off, and now you're hitting your ribs, and it's like, okay, there goes that story. And I know I'm being really hard on the match, but it is what it is. The match was built around Ronda Rousey's ribs being hurt. Obviously, her ribs, she just no-sold that. She no-sold another chokehold as well, which ticked me off. It's like, I don't care how small Alexa Bliss is. When somebody puts you in a chokehold, you're in a chokehold. You can't no-sell that. At the end of the day, Ronda Rousey picks up the victory with the armbar, as Chris Jericho would say. And we're off to WWE Evolution. And like I said all along, this match felt like a placeholder match. This feud felt like a placeholder feud. It feels like we were just here just to as a vehicle to get to Evolution, and we're on our way to Evolution. We'll see how the story is told with Ronda Rousey going from here on out. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes down. As for the match overall, not great quality. I didn't really enjoy it. Ronda Rousey remains your champion. So, moving on to the main event of the night, we had Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. This was a hard-hitting match to start off. Braun Strowman grabbed the title, put it up in his face for the match. I found that to be really cool and really funny. The crowd really loved it. There was a spot in this match to where Roman Reigns ran into some steps, and it looked like a vicious shot. They did it really well. Also, Mick Foley. What is going on with Mick Foley? The dude counted to 3. Braun Strowman is your uncrowned Universal Champion, by the way. Mick Foley counted to 3. I rolled over laughing. Like, it could have been anybody outside of Mick Foley, and I'd have been like, whatever. But it was Mick Foley. And the fact that Corey Graves paid attention to it on commentary, I know Vince was somewhere pulling out all of his hair that he has left with Graves paying attention to that 3 count. But as the match went on, we had a Roman Reigns spear through the table, and at that point I'm like, okay, is the match going to end here? The match obviously doesn't end, and obviously after that you're waiting for interference to come in the match. So that circus act comes down to town. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre is trying to get inside the cage, and then Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins comes on ringside, and we have ourselves a big a Pier 6 brawl, and it goes to the top of the cage, and they're brawling it out. Eventually, Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler has a sick-looking spot from the middle of the cage through the table, and out of nowhere, like Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar's music hits, and it's like, wait, what? Brock Lesnar, what is he doing here? He rips the cage off a la Kane, and all we was missing was, that's gotta be Brock. That's the only thing that we were missing there. And Brock goes into the ring, lays waste to Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. We had F5s to both of them. He took a piece of table wood, he was laying them out with that, and all of a sudden, Paul Heyman maced Mick Foley beforehand, and another referee comes down, and the referee throws out the match. Like, what did he throw out the match for? It's a Hell in a Cell match. That's no disqualification. What are you throwing out the match for? Like, because they're incapacitated? Like, when have we ever thrown, like, I can't remember in recent memory that a Hell in a Cell match was thrown out. I was expecting interference, and I was expecting to be ticked off for interference. So we got the interference, and it was like, well, so what? Okay, there it is. And I was expecting the match to continue. Like, you could have did anything. You could have did anything to protect whomever loses in that match. Like, at that point, it didn't matter who won. We was going to get a rematch anyways. But you have a no finish in a Hell in a Cell match? Like, the referee just came in and rung for the bell? For what? For who? For why? We always continue these things. I mean, you had Roman Reigns bloodied at WrestleMania. He continued the match. I mean, goodness. I didn't like the no finish there. I mean, the bright side is that Braun didn't take a loss, so we got a bright side there. But a no finish in the Hell in a Cell match, like, dude, give me a break. But Braun, Roman Reigns, that feud continues. Obviously, Brock Lesnar is going to get involved in this some way, somehow, in some way or fashion. I don't know when Brock Lesnar's next match is going to be. Obviously, he's re-signed to some type of contract. We'll see what type of news comes out from there. But that was Hell in a Cell. The last match just left a sour taste in my mouth. And normally that's enough for me to be like, I hate this pay-per-view. But overall, I thought the pay-per-view was really enjoyable. I really liked it. And you know what? WWE did a good job here. I very much enjoyed it. And like the last stretch of matches, it was like, I'd have hated those last stretch of matches. But the first 1, 2, 3, 4 matches, maybe even maybe the first 4 to 5 matches, it was like, okay, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. So that was enough for me to put this pay-per-view in the good category. So let me know what you think down below. What did you think of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? What did you think of the main event? What do you think of the pay-per-view overall? Let me know either on YouTube down below or on Twitter at OMGCoreyB or at 2SweetPod. I'm out.